Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start our video with a story where OP moves into a penthouse only to face a neighbor who can't believe OP is the owner. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Karen surprised, I'm the owner of a flat. After a lifetime of savings and lucky career choices, I managed to climb up the property ladder and buy a nice 3-bedroom penthouse for me and my family. I used to live in a rented flat located in another building in the very same development and decided that I would do the move myself. I persuaded a friend with some beer, rented a van, and after 3 hauls, we were almost done. The flat has 2 marked private parking bays. My car was parked in one, and I was using the other one to park the van as it was near the service lift entrance. I drive in, and there's a lady, our Karen, using my parking bay to unload some plants and gardening stuff. For added context, this is in West London. She looks super English. I'm from Latin America and definitely look Latino. I was wearing cargo pants, gloves, and driving a van. I parked near her car and politely waited until she unloaded everything in the boot. She noticed I was waiting and came to tell me that she was leaving her car there as her parking bay was being used by a decorator. Smaller flats in this building have only 1 parking bay. She then proceeded, obnoxiously, to tell me that I needed an authorization from management to be there. I then asked her if she had authorization to use that parking bay, and she tells me that this parking bay near the service lift is reserved to owners and that I couldn't use it. I pointed at a sign that says Flat 07 and told her I'm the owner of the flat and that these are private parking bays. I told her that I would be happy to wait until she takes her stuff to her flat, but that I would need the parking space and she could not leave her car there. She looked at me in disbelief. In an awkward Freudian slip said, "But 07 is the penthouse. I'll call management to check if it really has been sold." Then it finally registered that she couldn't believe that someone like me would be the owner of a flat in this building. I got out of the van and politely said, "Hey, I understand you don't believe I'm the owner, but if you don't take your car out of my parking bay right now, I'll take a picture and send it to the development manager. I'm pretty sure you know there's a £100 fine for parking in someone else's bay." She drove away just to come back 10 minutes later with the development manager, who looks at me and awkwardly says, "Oh yeah, this is Mr. Neo Levac, who just bought Flat 07. The look on her face was priceless. That was a racist Karen. Sadly, they're not very rare. Congrats on the apartment. And our second story. Yelled at my coworkers after they made an inappropriate joke about my promotion. I, female 26, work in a tech company. I started working there right after I graduated college. I started with the lowest rank, OFC, but I've been promoted twice. Kind of like a more important job, but still had some people above me first, and recently to manager of my section. When I started working in this company, I met my boss and we became good friends. We had a short relationship too in some time, but ended up on good terms. My coworkers don't know this, or at least they can't be 100% sure if we dated because we never told anyone, although they could see us leave together sometimes and join the dots, I guess. While we were dating, I got my first promotion and people made some comments because I was fairly new, although I did worked a lot for that promotion, but I ignored them. Recently, as I said, I got another promotion and my coworkers wanted to go out to celebrate. I agreed and we went to a bar. Not many of us, just the department I work at, and not even all of them. We were like 12. We had some fun, but then one of my coworkers told me I should be proud of how much I worked to get this promotion, and another of my coworkers, a woman, told me I must be tired from work, especially the inside the sheets work. They all started laughing and make jokes about it, like if making our boss fall in love with me was my plan all along, calling me a strategic woman and telling me I must be really good in bed because our boss got me 2 promotions. I obviously was angry and embarrassed, so I reminded them that even if I was dating him, he couldn't give me a promotion because we have other bosses too, and our boss can't make that kind of decision by himself, and they just brushed me off by telling me that his opinion matters and that he can easily convince the other bosses to promote me if he wants to. I told them it was really disgusting that they were implying that I am a whore and that I need to sleep with our boss for a promotion, paid my bill, and left. The next morning, I went to hand them a project that our boss asked us to finish. The same woman who started the jokes told me it was rude that I left when all of them were celebrating me. She said they were joking that I should apologize with them. I tried to ignore them and just hand them the project so we could get started and told them to just start working. Same woman said, "Okay, Mrs. Boss's last name." I lost it then. I yelled at them to shut up and get to work already or I'll file a report with HR. They all left to work after that. I've talked to my boss about this and he agrees with me, but then I told my brother what happened and he thinks I shouldn't have yelled at them. Although he agrees that they were rude with me too. My mother also thinks that. Now I'm kind of confused as if I was an a-hole or not. Edit. I've talked to my boss about this again. He told me our company doesn't have any dating policy. I also checked it myself. I decided to not go to HR just yet. I'll try to make things peaceful between me and my coworkers again, but my boss did recommend me to write a report just to have a written proof that this happened. Edit 2. I had a long day at work today. I had my manager training, but I made time to talk to my coworkers. I've decided that since they have doubts about my promotion, I asked HR to do an investigation about it. They'll see if I'm the best person for the charge. They said it's going to take a couple of days, and they asked me to keep my manager duties for the meantime. As there might be a chance I lose my promotion and will have to go back to my position as a senior, I asked HR if there was any chance I could have my senior salary this month too. I got a raise with the new promotion and also refused to use other privileges I had now. My coworkers asked me that. I had no problem with it. I also apologized for yelling at them, and some of them apologized for making those jokes and laughing at them. I told them about my relationship with my boss, and they just reminded me that our company has no rule against dating. Basically, they told me they didn't care about that. I agreed with my coworkers to tell everything about this matter to HR. That includes the argument at the bar, my relationship with my boss, and the timing of my promotions, so HR could see the full picture. That meant filing a report against them. They'll be sanctioned. I also told them I did all of this because I wanted to make our work environment at least peaceful, but I also said that they could talk to HR to be moved to another department if they wanted to. Only one person left. That woman who started everything. My boss also asked HR to investigate if he had ever taken advantage of his charge to help me and other people get a promotion or any benefit. So we'll all be sure that nothing wrong is happening. Basically, a lot of work for HR. I know many of you gave me different advices, like not to go to HR, but I think this is the best I can do. If HR thinks I shouldn't be a manager, then I'll gladly go back to my position before and I'll try to work hard to get another promotion maybe. If HR thinks I was the best candidate for the promotion, then my coworkers will know that I'm not there just because I had a relationship with my boss before. Your colleagues were out of line, especially the Mrs. Boss name dig. That was uncalled for. But your handling of the whole situation was beyond ineffective. And our next story. Make your own tea. So I dated this guy for 8 years before being allowed by his mother to darken their doorstep. He would come and stay with me, but I wasn't allowed to visit his home. Partly it was his mother, but he never pushed it. So when his mother became almost bedbound, I was allowed to visit so long as I cooked and cleaned. Yes, long story, maybe for another time. The incident. I've just cleaned the kitchen, including emptying the very out-of-date food from the fridge and cleaning it. I just want to sit and have a cup of tea, but no, I'm expected to make cups of tea for him, his mother, his sister, her husband, and their kid and his fiancé. Yes, I know. Now, I drink my tea very, very weak, as many years ago I had an issue with caffeine and decaf tea bags were not a thing then. So I could get my tea hit. I'm a Brit. I need my tea. I had to go weak. Because of this, I have no idea about making tea. Things were really tense in that house because his mom didn't want me there, but also wanted me there to cook and clean. I come out with cups of tea for everyone. His mom takes one look at her cup of tea and pronounces that it's the worst cup of tea she's ever seen. And if I can't make a better one, I would be better if I never made another. So I smiled, turned on my heels, and went back into the kitchen, closing the door behind me sat, and drank my cup of tea. After they'd all gone, I packed my bags, drove home, and a few days later I had a physical breakdown from trying to run 2 homes, mine and his. I was off work for 6 months, and he had to fend for himself. The relationship was going down the drain, and so if I visited, I would book a hotel room for just me. He was not allowed to stay, and I would just sit there like a guest, as I wasn't staying. I would arrive after lunch and leave before tea. If either of them hinted about a cuppa, I would remind them that I made the worst tea in the world, so wasn't going to waste their time making a cuppa. And I never made another one for either of them, even if he came to visit. Within the year, I finished it with him. One of the things he accused me of after we finished was that I thought I was better than him and didn't know my place. Guys, don't go for a woman who works, has their own flat and their own opinions, and then expect them to be subservient to you. That guy really thought he was doing you a solid by allowing you to date him, and you're better off without him. Both your ex and his mom would have made you miserable, and it's good that you got out. And our last story. My grandparents died recently, and I inherited their farm. I was really excited about this, getting the farm, not their deaths. I was actually really close with them. Because my husband and I, 27-year-old male and 24-year-old female, have been looking for a house near my new school. It's my first year as a middle school teacher, and this house holds sentimental value. Grandfather built it for grandmother as a wedding present, and it's a huge property, literally hundreds of acres. A few subdivisions have been built nearby, including one directly adjacent to the farm. My husband and I were exploring our new property, which has quite a bit of wooded area, and we found a huge live oak tree with a treehouse in it. This was obviously done by an adult, not children, because the lumber was new, and it was really well built, even had an AC window unit and glass windows. My husband and I waited around to see if anyone showed up, and sure enough, a guy, mid to late 30s maybe, and a few kids show up. The guy immediately has an attitude and asks why we're on his property. My husband tells him that it's actually ours and that we have the papers to prove it. The guy tells the kids to go play, and he starts freaking out because he thought that no one owned this property. So he doesn't understand how land works, he's trespassing, and he has an attitude. We tell him that he needs to leave because this is private property and we don't want to be held liable for any of his kids getting hurt on our property. He leaves, he was pissed, and we immediately call the sheriff's office to report the trespassing issue, and we call a contractor to have the treehouse removed. Like I said, I'm a teacher. I can't afford a liability lawsuit. A few days passed, the treehouse was removed, and the lumber was donated. And the guy shows up on our doorstep accusing us of stealing his Christmas gift to his son. I explained to him that because the treehouse was built on our property without our consent, that legally it was ours. He threatens to call the police, and I tell him to go for it because legally we're in the right. The police show up, and the guy ends up being really embarrassed because he was proven wrong and fined. I feel fine having the treehouse removed, but a few people from the subdivision have called our house phone, calling us kid haters and selfish monsters. Couldn't be farther from the truth. I'm a school teacher. I love kids. Legally, I'm in the right, but morally, I don't know. Edit. I did attempt to reach out to him, but he wouldn't answer his phone or his door. My husband dropped off the personal items, furniture, windows, AC window unit, etc. at his house. The parish, not county, we live in Louisiana, mailed him a notice that it was going to be removed, so he knew about it. The wife of the guy actually did reach out to apologize to me and my husband about her husband's actions. I'll be sending a batch of chocolate chip cookies to her tomorrow as an olive branch. We agreed with her that it's best not to involve the HOA because I don't want them to get ridiculous fines for breaking the contract that was drawn up with my grandparents about residents not trespassing. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.